Forging a successful career path begins from your foundation, a foundation of quality and professional education. It is a weapon of transformation and a passport to the future. Hipmat's credibility and years of training thousands of professionals in HND, BTech, BSc, and MBA in the schools of Business and Management Sciences, Engineering and Education, with remarkable mentorship from the University of Bamenda for the BTech and MBA and the University of Biya for the BSc program is second to none. From committed professors and lecturers in classrooms to numerous academic field trips, internships and workshops, Hipmat will reform and guide you towards your success. Admissions are now open in our Biya and Douala campuses. Join us. Together, we will build a legacy.
Hipmat is what it is today because of its excellent and competent teachers.
For your children, Hipmat will be the perfect place to gain that professionalism that you need to further your educational career.
The Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, the University Institute for Professionals.
As some people using the name of President Paul Biya and his party to plunder the Cameroon's economy is our topic for tonight. We are going to be looking at how some people also answer the question whether some persons in the country, be they militants of the CPDM or not, are using the name of President Paul Biya and the CPDM party to plunder Cameroon's economy. With our panelists who are already in the house. Good evening, televiewers. Welcome to today's edition of Prime R. We are going to be receiving Princess Joel on this edition of the program. It's been away for some time. We are glad to have you back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Liu. Good evening to the televiewers of my major Prime and particularly Prime R. It's very true that for a while we're not there for reasons that you best know, but we are back. It's always a privilege being on board.
Okay. We also are in the company of you, Professor Mark Anthony. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Leo, and good evening to my fellow panelists and to the million viewers out there. It is a beautiful evening, and we believe that by the end of this program, we would have educated some of you on some issues that are pertinent concerning our nation. Thank you.
Kevin, Brenda is also part of today's panel. Good evening, Kevin.
Hello, Leo. Good evening to all the televiewers out there, especially to those watching from Bamenda. I'm very happy to be here this evening to share and as well learn from the topics that we'll be discussing today.
We also are in the company of Quine Zillian, who is representing the CRM party. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Good evening to all your televiewers.
We are expecting a militant of the CPDM party. He was mandated by the party to be part of this edition of the program. We hope that he joins us and also share in what we are discussing. We equally are going to be discussing on the call by Cardinal Tumi for the President of the Republic to grant amnesty to those involved in the crisis rocking the Southwest and Northwest region. We are going to be answering the question as to whether the President was going to hit that call. We'll start with you, Prince Joel. Is the name of the President of the Republic a passport for many persons in this country?
Sure, Mr. Liu, you know, the President of the country, many individuals glorify him. We've had ministers, we've had persons who have referred to the head of state as a god on several platforms. And also, many persons are using the head of state, I think, for political benefit. Many persons know that once you use the name of the president, you're going to get political favor. You can be appointed, you can be kept somewhere. And it is, to an extent, something that is really lamentable, because we've had individuals who have openly cherished the head of state, who've given the head of state the characteristics of a god, okay? And all these things is just for one reason, like I said before, Mr. Leo, is the fact that a majority of people are doing so because they actually want to get favor from the head of state. And someone may not be doing it like, say, they are doing it genuinely. It's just that, no, if the president, if I sing praises for the president, I may end up getting favor from him. And we've also seen ministers, not so many in the country, you ask the minister a question and the first thing is, I want to thank the head of state. And at times you start asking yourself whether the people actually merit or deserve where they are, because at each time it is always, je vais remercier monsieur le chef d'État, it is always the president and the president. And it's just for one simple reason on my own reading, Mr. Leo, is the fact that many persons want political favor, and you can only get this political favor if you sing praises to the man who is up there.
Now, but don't you also think that it is because it's the President of the Republic who gives the direction as to the implementation of the policies based on the manifesto on which he was voted?
Sure, but I think that, Mr. Leo, is very true that in most offices, in fact, all offices in Cameroon, the head of state is always up. But far from that, I think that, Mr. Leo, it is true that it is the head of state who does everything, but when you look at the extent to which some people actually glorify him, we've had ministers, without calling names, who say the head of state is a god. We know even colleagues, journalists.
Yeah, but that's not my problem. Even if we say the head of state is a god, my question is, are they using that name as a passport to getting to many sectors of this country and then end up plundering?
I might not be an expert in answering that question, but I might give an opinion in relation to it, considering the fact that we are observant to some of the activities of ministers, delegates, and all that we can name. At times when you see somebody praising somebody so much, I want to believe it's because the person has something behind to gain. And so a lot of let's take the past ministers who are presently in the prison. Most of them used to praise the name of the president, and some of them are in prison for embezzling money. They wanted trust. They gave them the trust, and they misused the trust in stealing, embezzling the nation's wealth. And that already is an indication that a lot of people are using the name of the president to make their money. Apart from that, from observation, like I started saying, when you see a person trying to speak good of another person so much, trying to hail somebody so much, there's a hidden agenda.
Okay.
And that hidden agenda, to my opinion, is one of the reasons why this nation is standing where it is right now. Because most of these persons have been given the opportunity to actually manage the affairs of the nation. Rather than managing the affairs of the nation, they keep on saying that I receive high instruction from this person to do this. And in doing that, you don't see execution of what they have been told to do, but you only see sums of money being swindled. And so, you imagine a minister who praise the president and then come and present a budget that a kilometer of road is start for 7 billion. That one already is to tell you that is a means to preserve himself from being kicked out of the government. Not only kicked out of the government, at times looking for ways to protect himself from being sent to prison. But I would say it is very, very shameful to realize that some individuals take advantage of the name of our president to make their personal gains. Apart from that direction, there are individuals whom I want to say have the kind of relationship with the president, who uses that particular relationship as a means to intimidate others. And that is so common in Cameroon. where you see somebody who feels like he's somewhere up there, he lives to intimidate those who are down.
He tells you that he has
connections
a
up.
hotline with the president of the Republic.
So with all of that, at the end of the day, you can't deny that some individuals are not actually there to take advantage of the president's name.
Okay, rigor and moralization is the platform through which the president of the Republic actually announced his policy for Cameroon. When you look at his close collaborators, do you match rigor and moralization with what they have been able to do so far to accompany the president and realize what the plans he have for this country?
To a little extent, because there are times when you would like to ask if the president is there or if he's sleeping, given the fact that he appoints people who don't execute what they are out to do. We have many of such instances. We're talking about, look at the case of the Gabo incident. The president stood behind us and said they were going to do a lot of investigations, compensate those victims, and even organize a service for them. Till today, the person who was sent to control this commission, the person who is heading this commission, we don't know what's happening. All of this, just one of them. Just to say that there are some things that the president, what the president aspires. I would not like to say I'm reading President Paul Biya's mind here, but when you look at what his policy says and the people he appoints, it is totally something else. Look at a minister who sat in his office and he was drinking his palm wine and said, if people are dying in the northwest and southwest, it doesn't concern him. It doesn't stop him from drinking his palm wine. That shouldn't come from a minister, and it should come from someone who is trying to follow up with the policy of national integration, national unity, and the rest. Same as some other minister will call you others dogs. That doesn't. It says totally different. It's something else to what the president aspires for the nation. So this topic of today, I'm very touched by, because I think that some people actually use the name of President Paul Biya to achieve their personal gains rather than the interests of the nation. It is true that President Paul Biya has been there for more than 30 years. That's why we have at every occasion people will keep singing his name. We thank the head of state, we thank the head, because we have been thanking the head of state for more than 30 years. So it's just normal. About calling his name in every interview, I'm not surprised. It's okay for me. My problem is that when the head of state says we are working towards national integration, let him appoint people who actually will carry out all of these policies and ensure that we have a united Cameroon and not a divided front.
Okay, a united Cameroon. Gillian Quine, we're using people using the name of the president of the republic or the party to get either their children, their wives, and others recruited into some of these higher institutions, for example, in Afrique and a host of others.
Yeah, first of all, I want to ask for an excuse to your viewers. I would have loved to continue in English, but I just want to make this panel to be bilingual. So, with your permission, I may want to express myself in French.
Okay.
La question que vous posez, c'est une question de fond, et effectivement, nous sommes dans cet engluage, dans cet enfumage de la part des officiels du gouvernement qui, effectivement, utilisent le nom du chef de l'État, puisque les lettres sont souvent mentionnées sont souvent portables à la mention sous haute instruction. On se pose bien la question si sous haute instruction cadre avec un principe constitutionnel. Le constat est triste parce qu'aujourd'hui, il y a beaucoup de dérives qui sont en train de prendre corps, qui sont en train de s'opérer. Et on veut bien se poser la question, puisque c'est le nom du chef, de la personne qui incarne la fonction de président de la République qui est utilisée, est-il au courant de cet état de choses? Ça, c'est une question fondamentale. Et s'il était au courant de cet état de choses, pourrons-nous croire qu'il est effectivement d'accord avec ce que ces ministres font au quotidien en utilisant effectivement son nom? La consoeur a rappelé le cas de Gabou. Il y a plusieurs cas où effectivement on a vu les ministres, je prends le cas récent de la taxe qui a été imposée sur la téléphonie, oui, où le Premier ministre a validé et la décision est venue du secrétariat général disant que c'était sur haute instruction du chef de l'État. Ça nous amène dans une sorte de cycle d'embrouille. On se pose la question, que vaut la fonction présidentielle au Cameroun si les gens doivent utiliser son nom plutôt pas que lui? Nous savons que le chef d'État est en exercice, il est supposé gouverner le Cameroun et non pas avoir des personnes.
Mais il ne peut pas être partout à tout moment.
Il est l'incarnation de la République. C'est-à-dire que moi, en tant que citoyen, je consens que le chef d'État doit être partout et à tout moment. Parce que à partir du moment où il est absent et que c'est quelqu'un d'autre qui vient relayer sa fonction sous le couvert de haute instruction, personnellement, ça pose problème. Et nous n'avons qu'à voir.
Est-ce que vous avez l'impression qu'ils utilisent ce nom pour mettre l'approche dans les grandes écoles?
C'est toutes ces choses-là. Nous avons vu à l'ENAM. On ne veut pas faire un procès ensorcelé. Mais quand vous regardez les dernières listes des résultats de l'ENAM, vous vous rendez effectivement compte que il y a même plus une intention, parce que ça allait au-delà de l'intention, mais il y a cette volonté de s'accaparer de certaines positions au sein de l'administration gouvernante, que certains proches, justement, sous le nom du chef de l'État, s'amusent à faire des faveurs, c'est-à-dire à prôner le favoritisme au détriment du mérite. Nous avons vu les listes des NAM tout récemment. Il n'y a pas que les NAM. Il y a tout un ensemble de décisions. Si on veut prendre les 2 dernières années, vous allez vous rendre compte que la machine gouvernementale est grippée. Grippée pourquoi? Parce que les décisions qui en sortent ne sont pas en réalité le reflet du président de la République, mais qui parlerait en son nom. Mais c'est davantage les positions de ces ministres qui utilisent très éveillés sur cet état de choses. Si nous parlons de la République, nous devons interpeller ce gouvernement à faire fonctionner toutes les institutions, en commençant par la présidence de la République.
Okay, how do we understand that seemingly everybody is trying to outwit the other to believe that they have very close relations with the President of the Republic and then go on doing just anything? Is the judiciary so helpless to have noticed that many things are dysfunctional and that they need to step in to regulate?
Sure. Mr. Liu, lately in Cameroon, we've noticed, like you asked, there is this kind of conflict, ministerial conflicts, whereby at one time, we can remember that one time Minister of Arts and Culture in this country had contradicted a decision that came from the Prime Minister's office about the creation of Sunakam. And it's not the first case. We've also seen in the same country whereby the Minister of Territorial Administration has contradicted what the Prime Minister has said. And I think the majority of what is ongoing, Mr. Lewis, because certain persons think that they have more affiliation to the Unity Palace than the other ministers. Because, like my brother said, there is actually something that drew my attention, or many Cameroonians, if they've been observant, that the Prime Minister takes a decision, says something, and then a letter comes from the presidency to contradict that same decision. The Prime Minister normally is the head of government. It means that everything in stricter sense, so he's working closest to the presidency than any other person. But if you look at what has been ongoing for a while now in the country, Cameroon, one is lost, like one is asking, what is not going on well? We've had situations whereby the president, from what we gathered, that certain decisions were taken even without the presidency, and that the judiciary needed to come in on her instructions. The question we're asking ourselves is very simple, Mr. Liu. Why is it that once somebody has been given an office, why can they not? Because normally there's what we call their job description. Why should people not stay within their own areas? We've discovered that ministers, look at even what is ongoing in Fcfa. You see General Pierre Semenge, and it takes the presidency to come in and...
Yeah, but my question stands. We have a judiciary that is supposed to be independent, but we find people, almost everybody is doing whatever they want to do. We saw the Supreme Court take a decision recently concerning the University of Biya land, and a minister took a decision. He took another instruction from the President of the Republic to instruct that the minister should give the land back to the university. And then how independent is our judiciary? Are the ministers above them? Are the collaborators of the president above the judiciary, Cameroon's judiciary?
Yeah, Mr. Liu, to an extent, we may say yes, because we've had individuals. The truth is, we've had people who have ordered for the arrest of people, and those people are kept with it. It takes time later on before the truth comes out. But Mr. Liu, there are certain people who are linked to the presidency whose decisions are stronger than that of other ministers. And it doesn't really sell the image of the country well, because a very simple example, the Prime Minister is head of government. If the Prime Minister takes a decision and somebody comes to contradict that same decision, it goes to tell you that we are just like deceiving ourselves that he is a head of government. And this is just one of the so many cases that we have seen in Cameroon. We've seen ministers who have contradicted decisions that come from the others. But it's just, I would not say that the judiciary is helpless, because the judiciary itself functions based on the executive. The head of state is not ignorant of what is ongoing in Cameroon. He knows. And when these things are ongoing, it is maybe because somebody somewhere has a very stronger hand at the level of the Unity Palace, and maybe it's a person who is manipulating to ensure that the right decisions are not taken.
Okay. Many persons also within the government apparatus using the party to set up a division amongst Cameroonians for their personal gains, because when you create division and there are warring factions, it's a nation that actually suffers. But the cover you are using to orchestrate this division, war, and a host of others is you are belonging to the CPDM, or the fact that you support the President of the Republic.
You see, such situations do happen simply because there's lack of patriotism.
Okay.
When the love of an individual is above the love of the nation, you start finding what we call personality cults coming up. And when you see individuals who are fully involved in these personality cults, the truth behind it is that most at times their praises are not what you should take into consideration. You see, in leadership, we are made to understand that the strength of a leader is integrity, meaning that you are able to match your words with your actions. But from observation, we have come to realize that there are a lot of words that are being said which contradict actions that are taken. And from my understanding in Cameroon, don't judge people from their words, judge them from their actions. Because they will say this, praise this, and do all that, but when they go out, they act differently. And that is the reason why you see a party which is supposed to be united to be able to lead, it is divided from within. Because there are camps that have been divided. I am more closer to the president than this person, so I have my camp. This other person is more closer to this, so they have their camp. And that division is the reason why you have instability in a nation, where one individual feels like he has the right to insult others and go with it. And those are the things that we have experienced, Mr. Liu, in this same nation for a while now. Look at the CPDM party. I'm not of the CPDM, but you see a lot of divisions are inside. The question is why?
Even in families, we have divisions.
Yes, and the reason for those divisions is simply because Either I am connected to the head more, or I am connected to this other. If in a family, when you see children more close to their father, some close to their mother, there's a division already. And who stays more in the house determines who people tend to. If it is a mother who stays with the children, some of those who are more close to mama will have to intimidate those who are not close to her, those who are close to the father. And you end up having a situation where there is war, conflict in house. And that is what, in relation to the question of Leo, that is what is happening within this party, where some individuals feel more connected, and since they feel more connected, they use it against others. And it affects the nation indirectly. It affects the nation indirectly. Whether you like it or not, it affects the nation. Because I wanted to cite the situation, but I don't think I should do that. I will say this. Once you see an individual who feels like, I have more audacity. You just quoted a situation where a minister, the prime minister who is looked upon to be the head of the government, that minister is under that government, that head of government, implying that his decisions should be the final. Then when he takes a decision, another minister who is below him takes another decision and claims that it is coming from high authority. That high authority jumps authority to give that high authority. You see, that's the problem. That's to already tell you that there is a break in leadership.
Okay, there is,
it creates chaos.
There is a break in leadership. Now, let's look at some of the persons that are close to the President of the Republic, who are militants of the CPDM party, who are also involved in contracts. Are you satisfied with what they are doing? Are they using the CPDM not to engage in effectively constructing or realizing their projects? A glaring example are the projects that the reunification, 50th anniversary reunification projects for Biya. A glaring example. We have parts of Biya that were worked on by Arab contractors. We have other parts that were worked on by Cameroonians who are militants of the CPDM party, and months after, what was done by the Cameroonians is gone. Yeah. How do we understand this? Are they using the party to plunder the nation?
It comes to what the question of today. They are using the party, they are using the affiliates, the connections they have in the party to do whatever they do, because they believe that they will not render justice tomorrow. If you ask somebody like Marafa, if he would ever be in jail, he would have told you, no, I will not go to jail, because they use this position thinking that there will be no judgment, but nobody will ask them questions, nobody will judge them. And it is a lie. This person, this contract, usually, he doesn't eat this money alone, Leo. It is a chain. And for you to start breaking that chain, you will discover that some top personalities are also involved in it.
Close collaborators of the head of state.
Yeah, that's it.
Because what the collaborators will tell them that, I will render account to Pa that the job was done.
Yes, and nobody is complaining. You and I who live in Biya, we see this and we complain. The mayor sees it and is not happy with this. But the chain is there. You just have to keep closing the mouth, and then finally the thing is just dies down like this. That is why when people complain, you need to go to the ground to look at how people live before you come and make some declarations in Yaoundé. Because when you look at some projects that are declared 100% complete in Yaoundé, you go on the field and discover that those projects are maybe 34%, and you're shocked. And that it happens because there is this backing. There is this minister who came to Douala, and from what the reports that she had been, the minister of urban development, when she was disappointed, yes, Madame Cortez, she was disappointed when she came around, it was the Sanaga, yes, those gutters around that area. When she came, she said, but Mr. Government Delegate, you've been giving me this report telling me that everything is fine. How come this thing is the way it is right now? You see, that's what happens in Cameroon. People, you sit there, since you don't go to the field to verify things, you just trust this person because you know this person is a militant of my party and has the same interests that I have for the state of Cameroon. You don't trust them, you give them that right hand, they go into the field, they do what they can do, they know that my uncle, who is the prime minister, is there, he will back me up.
That is the problem that we have.
Okay, that's the problem that we have. Let me take a few messages and we continue. Cameroon ministers are fond of using the name of Mr. Biya as if he is God. A popular example was in the year 2014 when the then Minister of Communication says, I thank the head of state for the air we breathe, and I ask myself what is really wrong with the ministers of this country. Bisson Benson, writing from United Arab Emirates. Good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and my greetings to the panel. I want to say, let's not pretend about Mr. Biya or people using his name for personal gains. Excuse me. We have seen any time people glorify him, he appointed them. Mr. Liu, if I use your name for what you don't like today and tomorrow, you will call me to order. If you don't call me to order, what does that mean? You are okay with it. It's not one or two persons, but the entire party members doing one and the same thing. Okay, she thinks from Boom. Tal is writing from Boom. Tal thinks that the president of the republic is cautioning what is happening, but we've seen many of his close collaborators, like she says, Malafa Hamidou Yaya, we know persons like Amibara Atangala, who are in prison. We have Alain Edgar Mbengo. We have a lot of we have prime ministers who have been in prison. And is this not to tell the world that no, these guys did not do the job I asked them to do?
I want to start by Edgar Alain Mbengo. You know, when he was the Minister of Defense, the managing system was a problem until we saw military almost going for strike, which is forbidden. So later on, we saw a promotion coming along the way. He was appointed as a Minister of Transport, something of that sort, where Cameroonians were...
promotion?
Was it demoted?
No, I cannot actually consider that he was demoted, because to demote somebody shows that he was supposed to be sacked, but he was rather... Cameroonians were somehow waiting for a sanction, but they saw a kind of promotion. You can call it demotion. They saw a kind of promotion. He was appointed as a Minister of Transport. That shows that there's a critical problem here, because President Biya himself is the key promoter of all what you may consider as disorder or misleading. He's a key promoter, because if you look critically the way the government functions, you then realize that what the people, the Cameroonians, are saying is totally contrary to what the government or the government officials are listening. They have their own view of governing the country. Donc, c'est des mesures, nous, Camerounais, nous sommes habitués à ces façons de gouverner. Et moi, je refuse d'innocenter le président de la République. Parce que comme le message que vous avez lu tout à l'heure, l'un des Camerounais qui disait que s'il n'était pas d'accord, il y a bien des choses qu'il devait prendre, il y a des dispositions qu'il devait prendre effectivement pour sanctionner. Je veux rappeler quelque chose. Vous savez que c'est de coutume qu'après chaque élection du président de la République, il y a un remaniement ministériel. Vous n'allez pas me dire, ou du moins les autres Camerounais ne vont pas me dire ici que depuis 2018, que Paul Biya a été réélu président de la République, à tort ou à raison, que les ministres qui ont été cités dans beaucoup d'affaires, n'oublions pas qu'il y a une enquête que nous attendons toujours les résultats de l'enquête sur les chantiers pour la CAN, que nous attendons jusqu'aujourd'hui, et dont les noms, certains noms très proches du président de la République sont cités. Donc, on ne peut pas dire aujourd'hui que le président de la République est innocent. Il n'est pas innocent. Je crois que c'est un jeu qui l'arrange. Comme disait quelqu'un, diviser pour mieux régner. Il le fait à dessein. Il a effectivement, comme dans tout royaume, puisque au Cameroun, nous ne sommes pas trop loin de cette logique de royauté, dans tout royaume, le roi voudrait bien s'entourer des hommes stratégiques qui peuvent se permettre de faire du n'importe quoi.
Prince Joel, is the situation actually rendered more complicated because it is difficult to separate President Paul Biya from the state and the CPDM.
Sure. Mr. Leo, you know, it is very difficult to separate the man Paul Biya, separate him from the political party of the CPDM, separate him from the state itself.
Because even an engineer who is asked to construct a bridge over the Vuri will say he got the wisdom from the president.
That's why I'm saying that, Mr. Leo. At times, it is very difficult to remove the man Paul Biya from everything in Cameroon, because we have three arms: the legislative, the judiciary, and the executive. The head of state belongs to the executive, but when you look at it well, he is like nearly all over. Mr. Leo, we have a minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Betiasomo. It means to a greater extent there is a real minister of justice of defense, whose name is not known. Now, so it is very, very difficult in Cameroon to do anything without mentioning the head of state. In all aspects, there is nothing, there is no area. Even in football, he's the #1 footballer. He's a commander-in-chief of armed forces. He's the fund of funds. He's all over. So it is very complex, Mr. Liu, in Cameroon now, because the head of state is all over. If somebody gets a contract, instead of thanking the person who is the Minister of Public Works, it is Monsieur or Monsieur Chef d'Etat. So since people now know that they have favors from the presidency, that is why we have what we're having here. What Brenda said is actually something that I was there with her, with the minister. At one time, the minister of Emmanuel Jomesi asked a Chinese man a question when they came to Japoma. His question was,
how did you get this contract?
How did you get this contract, Mr. Liu? You start asking yourself that, what is going on? It means that somebody somewhere, even he was not aware. Madame Kecha Kotes asked the former government delegate, Frix Tonento, I was there with Brenda, Monsieur, you told me, how is this thing here? But therefore, you discover that there are a group of persons who do things the way they want.
From the presidency?
Correct. Because they have favor. Because they know that they have certain persons and they're untouchable. And it doesn't sell well because we know very well. For instance, the present minister of secondary education. When mom left University of Douala to Lakantini, many persons were like it was a punishment. Not knowing that they were rather preparing her for a better.
What was that?
Nalova Lyonga.
No, she was never at Lakantini. She was the board chair of the General Hospital.
Oh, okay, correct. Now, so but when you look at it generally, Mr. Leo, in Cameroon, the thing that we have a lot of contracts, like you rightly put it, that people don't actually execute what has been given them. It is because certain persons have their relations. Take another simple example. The recent competitive exam into ENAM. More than 30 people came from the director's family. It means that they were expecting that the president or somebody should tell him that no, what you did wasn't correct, maybe a sanction. But he is there, nothing is happening, it's as if nothing happened. It is because persons have their connections, persons have their relations, and they know that irrespective of what you do, their backing comes from the presidency. And this would not have been the case, Mr. Liu, like you rightly asked me the question, would have not been the case if there were a difference between the president and the different institutions.
The judiciary.
Yes, the judiciary. But given that the president incarnates all the institution, education, sports, so everything, there is no way that you don't see the president. The president is visible in all sectors. And because it is visible in all sectors, mediocrity is the order of the day. There are people who are competent, who are in offices, who would have done the job. Remember when the former Prime Minister, Ephraim Enoni, remember during the process of, I think, Operation Sparrowhawk, when people came to their offices around 8 o'clock.
No, he launched Operation Antelope.
Where he took upon himself to go to offices as you come to meet another law. But how far did he go? It is because we're living in a country where once you have the connection, the relations, you're untouchable. We have seen uniform officers who have been transferred. I have a guy who I did an investigative story on him. A police officer was transferred from Douala to Yaba. That guy has been there for close to 7 years now. Just for simply telling a lady who had connection somewhere that, madam, you are perturbing traffic. So I think that the whole aspect boils down to one aspect, Mr. Leo, is the presidency, the president, because he is the head. And if persons were not functioning based on the president, we would not have had what is ongoing in the country today.
Okay, let's take Cameroon has institutions. We have the likes of, we have the legislature, we have even now the Constitutional Council, we have the Senate.
Sure.
Are all of these instances unable to check those who are using the name of the President of the Republic or the name of the party to plunder the nation?
Mr. Leo,
Or they are also part of the cabal?
the first thing we should look at is the fact that our constitution actually defines the system in which we are in. Cameroon is a presidentialist nation, which means that the president has almost all the power. And in that case, he interferes in the affairs of the executive, of the judiciary,
Yes,
as well as
yes, that is the
case.
situation. That is the situation. But the question is, the crux of the problem is it because of that people are using his name and party to destroy, to steal, to pilfer from the resources of the nation?
That's where we should dive to. Considering all this put together, it becomes clear that even the judiciary will not have authority to speak against somebody who has done something if the orders doesn't come from above.
Parliament would not do anything.
The parliament
Senate will not
is
do anything.
practically being nominated. For example, the Senate, the president nominates how many out of 100?
30.
That's really to make you understand the powers he has
Vote
over them.
70 and 30.
And when it comes to the parliament, at the end of the day, I want to say something. Let's look at the last parliamentary election that took place. The president of that particular House of Representatives, as we put it that way, has been there for years. Question: do you think that there's no other person that can actually replace him? No. But where does the others come from?
Yeah, so, but I'm really understanding what I'm saying.
No, I'm getting you.
Yeah, because seemingly we are talking about the president of the republic here.
Yes.
I'm looking at people using his name. Is it because the president is all powerful that a House of Assembly is unable to bring one person to book? The Senate is unable to question what is happening, because remember, you say it's all powerful, but it took the SDF senator Kmer Henry to raise the issue of compatibility, where I'm sure Chief Mukete and a host of others were forced to stand down from the dual positions.
Mr. Lee, I'm not refusing all that. What I'm driving to is this. With these powers he has, with those individuals connected to him, they believe that if anything happens, the voice of the president will save them.
Correct.
And so they go defiling even the judiciary. They go defying the parliamentary house. So in doing that, you see them using the name of the president.
Yeah, but in using that name, what stops the National Assembly? They are in session now. What stops them from raising a particular case, asking this minister, because ministers are going to pass before them now?
Mr. Lee, I'm pointing
Mr.
something
Minister,
to you.
this guy in your department in Manu, this guy in your department in the Vuri did this and this. Why can't you?
I'm pointing something.
Yes.
And what is that? They believe that they have the backing. So when you do everything that you are doing, those people who are in that government and in the judiciary know those connections. And so there's a kind of fear even within to there. And once you do that, at least some person have been sanctioned. Using the case that he just said, a police officer spoke to a person because she was actually creating unnecessary hold up. And what happened? He was transferred somewhere else simply because he spoke. Such cases are happening. And so they misuse power because they think that they have a backing.
Yeah, but
and not only misusing the power, they go further in even swindling the state.
But when they know that you have powers because you have connections to the President of the Republic, we know of a recent case of somebody who boasted that he had all the connections to the presidency, but later on we discovered that he was begging even to have access to the wife of the President of the Republic. But the question is, even if somebody boasts that I have connections with the president, with the presidency, the Constitutional Council is there, the Senate is there, the House of Assembly is there, and they all are aware that there are persons who are so close to the President of the Republic, like Marafa Hamidou Yahya, who is in prison, Ephraim Enoni, who was Assistant Secretary General, Prime Minister who was in prison, though he went for medical checkup, and a host of people were so close to the President. They are in prison. Why should you allow yourself to think that, oh, this person has connection to the president?
That is the problem. That
isn't it because they themselves
we already feel defeated when we haven't tried. Yes, we feel defeated. Like Leo is asking, if isn't it possible for our parliamentarians to hold these people accountable? Isn't it possible for these issues to be raised in the House of Law? Question these ministers, tell them all of those things. It's possible to raise them. The fact that somebody was punished here doesn't mean that tomorrow somebody can be held accountable to something. You never know when the tables can turn around. A small uprising or a campaign or something can bring people, take people behind bars, because when it gets to one particular extent. So the fact that these people continue to misbehave this way doesn't mean that we will keeping silent because we think that they are connected to the President of the Republic.
Does it not also give us the sense that they themselves, their hands are tied? They are involved in those shady deals themselves.
The problem is when I look at the National Assembly, the first thing is that the ruling party has an upper hand, Leo. That's the first thing. So no matter what you do, you dance, you sing, you can play drums in the House of Assembly, but whatever the party wants will stay. How many of you are there to vote against them?
Okay. Now, though we are looking at the judiciary, the legislative arm, and the Senate, what has been the role of other instances like CONAC and NIF and the rest to check corrupt practices? Have they been effective to call persons who may be using the name of the president? Because we know there are persons who just leave, they come in black Prados, maybe in an office, say the Biya Council, and they tell you that they are from the presidency, and they get monies from people. They go to Limbe, they go to Bomenda, and these things around Douala. These instances, and NIF, CONAC, and the rest, why have they not been able to check this all this while?
Vous posez une question qui est une question qui a sa réponse.
Okay.
La CONAC, attendez, qui nomme à la CONAC? C'est celui qui est pointé du doigt d'être l'organisateur de tous ces vols.
Mais est-ce que quand il te nomme, il te dit de ne pas travailler?
Je vous dis, vous ne pouvez pas nommer quelqu'un, vous ne pouvez pas être cité dans plusieurs affaires, et vous nommez un policier. Vous présentez ce policier à la face du monde, que voilà celui qui est là pour faire respecter la loi. Or, vous qui l'avez nommé, vous êtes déjà un cas palpant de ce que ce policier devra exercer son rôle. Non. Le problème ici, c'est que justement, la responsabilité première incombe d'abord à celui qui nomme, celui qui a le pouvoir de nommer. C'est de lui que va tout ce désordre. Je me rappelle, au London, lors de son procès, avait cité Madame Chantal Biya, première dame du Cameroun, et du coup, il a reçu une massue. Vous vous rendez compte que, même si vous allez citer toutes les institutions du Cameroun, j'ai même souvent envie de dire que si on prend les institutions qui sont aux États-Unis, on les met à la disposition de la machine gouvernementale de ce pays, ces institutions ne vont rien faire. Parce que justement, celui qui a le pouvoir de nommer est dans une logique certaine, c'est de satisfaire davantage ses ambitions propres. À partir du moment où vous ne vous portez pas en faux avec son pouvoir. Parce que quand on a rappelé ici Marafa, effectivement Marafa, lors de son exercice, et plusieurs autres ministres n'avaient jamais imaginé un jour qu'ils pouvaient se retrouver là où ils sont aujourd'hui. Et quand on suit de façon logique la vie politique au Cameroun, on se rend compte que ces gens-là qui ont été mis en prison ne se retrouvent pas là nécessairement parce qu'ils ont eu des malversations. Voyez-vous, si on veut effectivement entrer dans la logique du contrôle, il n'y a aucun ministre qui sera assis où il est assis. Parce qu'effectivement, tous sont englués. Maintenant, le problème demeure. Pourquoi donc il est sûr, il est connu qu'il y a des malversations? Il y a des gens qui, en réalité, sont nommés par favoritisme, comme on dit certains. Il y a des gens qui sont nommés par reconnaissance. Il y a des gens qui sont nommés par affinité. Que lorsqu'ils sont installés à leur fonction, ne peuvent que exercer ce privilège qu'ils ont pour en réalité servir leur ambition personnelle. Et personne ne sera là pour leur interpeller. Donc, cela nous ramène à croire donc que la responsabilité, avant d'être vers ceux qui perpétuent ces actes, elle est d'abord de celui qui nomme, de celui qui organise.
Okay.
Est-ce qu'il trouve en ça un mal? S'il ne trouve pas un mal, ne demandez pas à ce que le mal soit soigné ou bien soit éradiqué. Okay. Donc, le président de la République a l'obligation, et s'il ne le fait pas, alors il mérite d'être pointé du doigt comme celui qui est l'instigateur de toutes les dérives, de tous les détournements, de tous ces gens qui sont nommés, qui prennent leur famille, alignent dans les listes. On a vu le cas de l'école de l'ENAM. Il y a plusieurs concours au Cameroun où c'est connu qu'effectivement, il y a une élite, une tribu qu'on appelle le gouvernement, qui a sa logique, qui s'accapare de tous les privilèges de la République. Et quand ils sont indexés, il vient vous brandir le visage du chef de l'État, il vient vous brandir les éloges du chef de l'État, qui lui aussi est en réalité partie prenante. Parce que s'il ne frappe pas, s'il a nommé les institutions comme la CONA, vous avez cité tout à l'heure, okay, et qu'au jour d'aujourd'hui, nous continuons à enregistrer ces malversations, il est fondamental que la CONA n'a qu'être une solution cosmétique.
Okay. Some persons are writing from the Biya prisons saying that they have been put in the same cell with former fighters, Ambassadorian fighters. They're asking whether they have been put in the same cell to be killed by these guys because it is fighting every day. We hope that something be done. Don't know whether the information is true, but that is what two persons have written from the Biya prison this evening. We hope everything is well there. I know you all will not read this message, but know for sure that Paul Biya is the architect of all the corruption. Thanks. Samuel is writing from Mutengene. Samuel, we cannot read all the messages now. Let me read it. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. Why is that doctor is always talking against the Odeshi? The matter is that the both are killing our children. Okay, Eddie is writing from Mutengene. Good evening to you, Ode. Good evening, Mr. Liu and crew. I can remember very well a phone somewhere in the northwest region who defied almost all the president, asked all authorities not to bring him to answer for his crimes. Now tell me why such a fellow will not glorify him and ask his followers to do the same. Noel writing from Yaoundé. The president empowers ministers and directors who swindle state funds and those who insult the judicial system. Ministers are comfortable with motions of support as a solution to our problems. Tata Paul, writing from the greetings, Mr. Kum and dear panelists. The answer is yes. John in Mayo Banyu. We the young people are really frustrated with the leadership such in power. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I am enjoying your program. Why would things not go the way it is going when he is a president who can't even go around the country to see for himself what is happening? Sami is writing from Kumba. This one reads, good evening to you all in the studio. In fact, that some Cameroonians see themselves as superior to others is severely killing us, and if our leaders do not walk away from that ideology, then 2035 will be a total mess. Okay? Terence is writing from Mutengene. Mr. Ekwe from Kumba says, good evening all in the panel, my media prime. Mr. Liu, my friend, was locked up in a prison cell and was released in the midnight because he was a CPDM. Okay, that is favoritism. Greetings, I'm Dominic from Muteng, and when I was to enter the public contract, I was advised to join CPDM party so that things can be easier for me. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo and all panelists. Most of the members of this ruling party in particular are using the name of the President of the Republic to make personal gains. That is why you always hear, "Crash my back, I crash your own." Mark Fish writing from mile 4 in Limbe. Good evening, Mr. Liu. In fact, Anglophones are the source of their own problems. One of the few English programs on TV you invite an Anglophone decides to speak in French. Okay. Okay, Laura Ngom. Okay. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu, to all the panelists. Please, Mr. Liu, help me ask Mr. Quine Williams how he got that name Quine. He's from Com or not? And everything concerning Cameroon is programming. Okay, Mr. Quine, will answer you. Good evening. The ministers, directors, and general managers who occupy public institutions do not know their job description because they all hide under the president, and each time they are being called to perform their duty, you hear saying that the presidents have said, "Send me." The president said that, and so on. Nincho Gilbert is writing from Tico. Nincho. This one says, "On va vraiment ce pays, où va vraiment ce pays, et j'ai masqué mon numéro de peur d'être repéré." Okay. Now, this way of doing things, does it actually kill creativity and hard work, and making many more persons to think that the only way to survive and make it big in the country is to join the CPDM, like some persons are writing?
Sure, Mr. Leo, very true, because we've had persons who maybe entered genuinely into competitive exams, and 1 year, 2 years, they were promoted maybe because of their political stance, and
not necessarily the CPDM. There are people who call themselves like Biyaists. That is, everything is just to place President Paul Biya.
Sure. If there is even Mesanganyamdi, who was the Biyaist association, and there are also youth who call, there's another association, yes, of youth. Yes, but I just feel that, Mr. Leo, the main thing is that, like I said before now, in Cameroon, the president has successfully created an image that so many people feel and think that for you to actually get favor, then you need to belong to the team. That is why there is something I always say. I want somebody authoritatively someday to show me a governor, a minister, who is of the opposition, who is not of the CPDM. When it is campaigns period, it is very glaring that most offices are locked, because they'll tell you the head for the Northwest, for instance, the head of the CPDM team for the Northwest, Philippe Young, Southwest, Peter Mafani Mosonge. Now, and when you look at even at the level of division, a majority of those who go down to the field to campaign for the CPDM are people who are working with the government. And a majority of people do so because they want favor, and it reduces creativity. People cannot actually do what they can do well because they know that they have that favor from the president. They know that even if you go irrespective of what you do, it is going to come back. There is a time I said something here, Mr. Liu, that I've seen a mayor who was very powerful, who gave the people what they wanted so far as projects were concerned. But at one time, because he disagreed with his minister, he was taken out of office. So for you to stay within power in Cameroon, if you want to really stay in power in Cameroon, it is not showing that you are too powerful. If not, the general manager of a station closes his door, and that same station announces that he has been dismissed. When you look at it, it's very complex. It tells you that somebody somewhere has that power, and if you want to stay within power, so far as the country is concerned, then you must toe the line, without which it will not work. And Mr. Leo, like you rightly asked, it kills the creativity. There are people who enter into public service out of merit. We cannot say here that everybody who is into public service maybe knew somebody somewhere. No. There are people who enter the public service out of merit. But now while in office, you are bound, maybe because of the reality of the field. I'm out of the public service, but I have people who are inside. I ask them myself, for instance, when you leave ENS, what do you do? He tells you that you're asked to choose 3 regions that you want to be posted. But now, Mr. Leo, when you say, for instance, that you've chosen Dua Littoral, you need to know somebody somewhere, for instance, for you to be sent to Lycée Polyvalent de Bonabéry. Because the whole littoral is very vast and very big. And anywhere they send you, you cannot grumble because you chose littoral. If you chose, for instance, Northwest, and they send you to Misaje, or they send you to Womb, there is someone who chooses the Northwest and they send a person up to Bamenda town. So it is now the reality in the field, Mr. Leo, that conditions people because they want to stay within power, because they want to benefit from power. They need to toe the line. When you don't toe the line, you will go off. We have listened to ministers who tell you openly, if you want to be with the system, then join the system. If you cannot beat them, then join them.
Okay, Mr. Leo, good evening to you and the panelists. There is a problem in Cameroon because we see a government delegate refuses to go to instructions from the minister, like the case of Douala, when the government delegate sacked some workers. So I see a student like, okay, your name is not there. Good evening to you. Good evening to you in the studio. Please, we never knew we were going to have a channel like this to express ourselves in English. But our brothers there speaking French. Okay. Christian is writing from Bamenda. Christian, Cameroon is a bilingual country. Why won't they use his name to perpetuate evil? Evil begets evil. Birds of a feather flock together. The fact that he declared war, then his name. Eva is writing from Kumba. Good evening to you, Eva. Good evening, Mr. Kum Leonard, and to you all in the studio. This program is special, and I have been waiting for this program for long now. I just want to thank the head of state of Cameroon for giving me this opportunity to write to my media prime for the wonderful programs. For the wonderful programs. Mohammed and friends writing from Morocco, Casablanca. Mohammed, good evening to you, and extend our love to your friends out there. Good evening, Mr. Liu, the mastermind of all that is happening in Cameroon, because he makes his government to be so. Once you praise him and join his party, you are qualified for appointment. They don't check your academic qualification. Every civil servant that wants promotion must join the party. Cyril is writing from Ireland. Good evening to you, Cyril. Greetings, Mr. Kum. Please, we are talking position in Cameroon. Please, the Prime Minister shouldn't be mentioned, because the Prime Minister in Cameroon is just like your flat screen TV in your house where your children can turn on and off. Okay. Raymond is writing from the United Arab Emirates. Now, the President of the Republic, let us not say the President of the Republic, the judiciary has sent some of the close collaborators of the President of the Republic to jail, and many more have been called to appear before the Special Criminal Tribunal. Do you have the impression that this tendency of plundering state resources in the name of the canopy of the party or the President of the Republic has changed? Are people scared enough not to engage in these activities?
If that was true, then it would have been limited. I remember there's a minister whom of recent actually announced the cost of tarring a kilometer of road. Just that cost would have sent him to prison. Because in West African nations, like for example Ivory Coast, a kilometer of road is tarred for 1 billion francs CFA. but in Cameroon it starts for 7 billion CFA francs. That already is a problem. When you see people pointing out that a bag of cement is 15,000 francs. Is it a special bag of cement? You see people present that a camion of sand is costing close to 500,000 francs. Where is that sand coming from? Is it special sand that's imported? You see, with all that, if truly the sending of guys into prison for embezzlement was really the solution, most of these guys would have stopped. And one thing I also want to say is that it is difficult to actually change the habit of a rat. Once it knows how to steal, it will keep on stealing. If it eats granite, whether you put a trap, it will still come to eat the granite from there. So asking that question whether it will change anything has changed nothing. It is already something that is embedded in these guys. And they think that because of their position, they should be able to build wealth for their children. So they begin to swindle wealth and keep, even though they cannot use it, believing that they are building a future for their kids. But one of the things that some of them fail to understand is that things are changing. You might keep all that. For example, we remember a minister who stole money and kept in his house, and when they were coming, he decided to burn part of it. That already makes you to understand that these guys, they do not even understand what it means to amass wealth. Wealth is not money that is kept. Money is value.
They should build many more Douala malls. And recruit
Cameroonians to work in there instead of taking the money and stocking it somewhere which is being misused and burning some. That is to tell you, Mr. Leo, the state of things. So I'm simply coming back to say, whether they lock all of them, the next that they put there will still want to steal. Because it is a system. And until that system is dismantled, you will have the same result whosoever takes that position.
How do we fix this? Kmer? Get young blood into the system.
This is corruption already we are talking about. And like he was saying that if the next chain of persons will still be to act the same, right? I wanted to cue into what Prince said. When your brother is at the top position in an organization and they need maybe an accountant, you studied accountancy, and he realizes that in his family there are 5 of you who studied accountancy and there is one person who is outrightly good in it, what do you think he's going to choose? You or the outsider who comes to apply for that position? It comes to this. Let's say it here. You will normally choose your brother because you want to enrich the family. Come on. What I'm arriving at is that the temptation is there. All right. So this thing about corruption to me, and it begins with us all. Because in our little corners, there are things that we do that are corrupt practices. But we are pointing fingers at those people, yes, because they are people that we selected. We want them to represent us well. We want them to change how things are done. We want them to be examples in our society. That's why we voted them out there. And that's why we want them to deliver. But it need to start with us. And President Paul Biya needs to sit up when reports are carried out and it's proven that somebody is guilty of something. He needs to start recruiting people who reflect what his objectives are. You will not recruit somebody who would go out there tomorrow and do something totally different. Because when I look at some ministers, I saw an award somewhere, Leo, and I saw the names of some ministers who have been handed over this award. And first, when I saw that award, I was saying, oh no, this award looks good. It looks genuine. It's not like some other awards where people just giving certificate to people for money, to make money. When I saw this award, I was happy. But when I saw the name of a minister whom I know has been the worst minister in Cameroon since he was appointed, when I looked at his being named politician of the year or man of the year, I look at his portfolio of this year,
okay.
I say no.
Okay, you say no. Special greetings to you, Tala, Council Tala Aga, who is also our colleague watching us from Kumba. Greetings to you, Mamindum, Sally out there in Kumba. Also, good evening, Mr. Leo, and to all of you in the studio, and especially to Sister Kevin Brenda, Mr. Leo, Mr. Paul. Biya being Vondo is maybe the cause of all the problems we have today in Cameroon because he's so not active. Okay, Brajo writing from Jakiri. Okay, Barrister Tala Aga says greetings to the crew. I enjoy the program. Special greetings to my brother Dilian. Barrister Tala is writing from Kumba. Good evening to you, Council. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Babila writing from Kumba. The government in Cameroon under CPDM with Paul Biya as the president is a yes, sir. If you disagree with yes, sir, then you are out. That's why you don't have check and balance. In conclusion, Cameroon is just like a one-party system. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Ayong from Kumba, I want to ask you, who goes to campaign for the president? Who keeps him in office? Who works to keep him there? So who is he? Please answer me. Wow, you are now the journalist. Greetings to you all. I'm loving your program. God bless you. For us, Eva is writing from Kumba. Mr. Liu and a lovely panel. Good evening. People use the name of the president to plunder Cameroon. I remember late Madame Foni used to say, and I quote, "Votez pour le président Paul Biya et le RDPC et faites les affaires sans payer les impôts." Should some business people be exempted from taxes while others pay? Patience is writing from Douala. Good evening, you guys are doing a great job. Our country has this problem where people who are qualified, talented, and are perfect for the jobs are being kept aside, and those with relatives from high places with no qualifications, so whatever are given the job, and they kill the morals of those who work and studied for the jobs given away. Our government needs to be reshuffled. Okay. More writing from Yaoundé. No, Esther from Yaoundé says, good evening, Mr. Liu. Say hi to Prof. Mark Prince Joel has been missing. Welcome, Mr. Liu. One day, wind go blow and foul your last go show. Esther is writing from Yaoundé. Thank you, Esther. Okay. Okay, there's a message I'm trying to look. Don't blame me that I don't read their messages. I noted one I wanted to read to you. You just spoke now. Now, how do we get out of this situation in Cameroon? Is it possible now?
Yeah, I must say something.
Okay.
To one of your messages that you read here. I choose to express myself in French because I'm from French speaking language. So I master best the French. But I must say that I'm a Cameroonian and I'm a Republican. I believe in one country, two federal states. So
they're asking because they see the name coin.
So I'm from Northwest, and this is the problematic of the Anglophone crisis.
Okay.
We are not fighting languages. It's not about language. So I'll still continue in the French.
Okay.
So donc la solution effectivement c'est que quand il y a longévité au pouvoir, il y a dérive, il y a péril dans la République. On ne peut pas trouver des solutions que de dénoncer cet état de longévité. Voyez-vous, les vieilles habitudes ont la peau dure. Quand un homme s'arroge le pouvoir de faire 40 ans en exercice et qui tient tout l'appareil gouvernemental, vous comprenez bien que les gens ne peuvent plus être là par efficacité. Cette routine qui fait que les mauvaises habitudes, le goût de l'enrichissement illicite a pris corps. Vous ne demanderez pas à quelqu'un qui mange du mouton tous les jours de se lever un matin et de jeûner pendant 3 jours. C'est impossible. Donc, la première solution, à mon sens, et pour nous les politiciens, c'est que le régime Biya doit apprendre à laisser. Ce régime doit apprendre à permettre qu'effectivement cette compétition politique se fasse et qu'on assiste à une alternance politique dans la paix et dans l'ordre des choses. Une fois que le régime Biya, parce qu'il a tout donné aux Camerounais, c'est-à-dire pour ceux qui vont peut-être le flécher sans comprendre que l'homme a quand même utilisé sa vie, parce que pour un chef d'État fait 40 ans au pouvoir, en réalité ce n'est pas donné. Puis ils ont fait un mandat, ils sont partis. Certains ont même démissionné, ont même laissé le pouvoir avant la fin de leur mandat. Donc, voir un homme qui peut tenir 40 ans à un poste de président de la République, il faut croire qu'il a donné son aide et qu'il est temps pour lui de laisser et que nous les Camerounais, nous puissions organiser les choses. En ce moment-là, on aura donc le temps de effectivement faire le tour sur tout ce qui n'a pas marché et impulser des nouvelles dynamiques pour remettre le pays sur le droit chemin et continuer sur la voie de l'émergence que le feu président a dit.
Mais lui aussi, il est Camerounais. No. Good evening, Mr. Liu. And if the minister wants to do their work, well, let them stand for the truth. Let them stand for the truth and go to prison for the truth, than playing game in favor of a particular person and go to prison for lies telling. Let them learn from others who are suffering now while the beneficial are enjoying in their homes. Pastor Tambo Felix Eyong, writing from Mamfi Road. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's because the president is not active. That's why I'm Jerry, writing from Dubai. Good evening to you, Jerry. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Those who are in prison, as you say, are only there when the president himself so wishes. All those you are referring to are hand clappers and are not clean themselves. Just one or two opposition PMs may point out some evildoers, but their voices are never heard. Ndo Neng, writing from Ginicom. Okay, let's take some few messages and then this one says the president empowers ministers and directors who swindle state funds and those who insult the judicial system. Ministers are comfortable with motions of support. Okay, Paul. Good evening, Mr. Leo and the panelists. No empire reigns forever. A day is coming when all those who hang on to the name of the president and the CPDM party will pick their shock. I'm Victor, writing from Tico. Good evening to you, Victor. Good evening. Mr. Liu, is it true that schools in Douala has been locked up because of COVID-19? Blink is writing from Batibo. It's a lie. Blink, it's a lie. Hello, Mr. Liu. I am Aruna from Jakiri. My friend's wife was transferred from Far North region to Ndop because she knows one director in Yaoundé. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your program. It's DJ from Bafusam. God bless you. Thank you, DJ. Good evening, Mr. Liu. The system is a reflection of itself, authoritarian rules characterized by governance, corruption. Terence is writing from Limbe. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Remember those ministers went to Yaoundé in search of jobs. Marafa spoke the truth after he was in prison. Philo, writing from Womb. Okay, good evening to you. Philo, I don't know what part you're writing from. The parliamentarians and senators can talk because they are not legitimately voted by the people they claim to be representing. Jackson is writing from Loom. This one says, may the angel of God visit you in your dreams. Good evening, Eboa Rene, writing from Kumba. Eboa, thank you very much. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we discuss our second topic for tonight.